guys, how y'all doing today? I wanted to come on here really quick to tell a story about twice in my career where two nurses that were supposed to be precepting me tried to throw me under the bus and get me, I don't know, I don't know, kicked out of nursing, charged, whatever. So the first time was when I was a nurse extern. And a nurse extern basically gets to work like during the summer when she's off after she's finished her first year of clinicals. And you get to go work at a hospital so you could get experience, yada, yada, yada. So I go to this hospital and they link me up with this RN who is a seasoned RN. We're on a med surge floor. And she basically is supposed to guide me through the nursing process, allow me to follow her on her patient load, and teach me basically how to be a nurse. So the skills that I took in with me were assessment skills and how to take vitals. I was still trying to put things together, you know, and I really, really just needed to like observe and listen. But guess what happened? So we had worked several weeks together already. She was pretty nice. I thought she was fair. But one day I showed up to work. She said, "Okay, Audra, today you're going to do patient rounds." And you know, when you do rounds as a registered nurse, you have to do a head to toe nursing assessment on everybody. So I guess we had about 4 or 5 patients on the med surge floor. And I went and I did my rounds. And next thing I know, all I did was went into like the little break room to go get some graham crackers and some peanut butter because it had kind of died down a little bit. I come out the break room and code blue, room so and so, code blue, room so and so. So I knew that it was, you know, her patient, our patient, whatever, because I'm not legally assigned to any patients. So I see everybody just rush into this room, all these disciplines, you know what I'm saying? Respiratory therapists, RNs, doctor, whatever, whatever. And so it was a man. And, you know, certain people were doing different things. Some people were checking the IV. Some people were, checking actually the IV site. Some people were trying to check for the carotid artery. They were just doing different things. And it was crazy to really see because it really wasn't any order to it. Nobody was assigned to one thing, but it was a little chaotic. And so the nurse was there and she was going in and she was trying to, assess. They wanted to see if he was breathing, and if they thought that, he was dying. Why did this one nurse out of the blue, she grabbed a Doppler, y'all, and put that joint right on his femoral artery, which is in his leg. And she was like, here's a pulse. Now, prior to that, let me just take you back a few steps. Why, when I was walking towards the room, did my nurse preceptor rush out the room? She was all flushed and nervous, and she was like, Audra, what was his respirations? Did you do his respirations? And guess what I was able to say? Because I could hear in her voice, she was basically going to try to blame me and say, you didn't take the respirations, so you killed this patient. Guess what I said, y'all? I said his respirations were 16 breaths per minute. There you go. Okay? So my assessment is going to be the same no matter where I go, all the way across the board. It's going to be a head-to-toe nursing assessment. I'm going to assess all the systems, the skin. I'm going to take the vital signs. I'm going to take down what the patient says to me, and I'm going to observe. And I'm going to count that chest rising up and down, up and down, up and down. And thank God, when I tell you, okay, he is a mighty protector, because I know a lot of people that just write down numbers, okay? So it was 16 for me. I don't know how you thought you was going to throw me under the bus, boo-boo pie, but that's legally your patient. I am the pupil, the nurse extern. So let's trot on over to the other hospital. Now, I'm a new grad, okay? And they put me with the first precept. I put out a video about her. And she basically, oh my God, that video is named Crossed by My Own Kind, if you want to watch it. And she basically just was like a nurse's eat your young type. And she just tried to chew me up and spit me out. And I stood my ground and she didn't like it. You know what I mean? I happened to listen in nursing school. I happened to have a brain that functions. I was able to, compute things, analyze, process, and then demonstrate back. So I was able to pass the same test they were able to pass and really understand it. So after I requested to, move from that particular preceptor and get another preceptor, and they gave me her best friend, guess what? I'm with the best friend. Once again, you think that you're bonding, you're having these sideline conversations. When it's slow, you think you're establishing a rapport. The whole time, she does not even like it. And so she was a little bit better than the one who treated me bad, but she was still her bestie, okay? And so she basically, would have me follow her around. My biggest thing was I wanted to learn how to put in an IV, and she did say that she was going to teach me, and she did teach me. She did teach me how to put in an IV, and so all I know is one night we were taking care of post-op patients. Now this time at this hospital, I was med-surg telemetry. So we're following people on heart monitors as well. And so she was explaining to me, in conversation, because we were looking at the patient's clinical picture, and she was like, okay, this patient is just fresh out of post-op. She was like, normally the doctor orders lactated ringers. She was like, I'm going to go ahead and order lactated ringers for him. She said, I'm going to go ahead and hang lactated ringers, and then we're going to, assess and do this, and da 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 da. So I'm listening. It's her patient legally. You understand me? I'm on preceptorship. I'm got to do, I think it was 2 or 3 months following her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just listening. Why did we go and finish all our patient rounds? Oh my God. Why did the doctor call the floor to check on his patients? And we were just sitting in a little nursing station cubicle. It was more closed in, private, and it was just her and I in there. And I could hear her talking to the doctor on the phone because, I'm observing, I'm learning. And so I heard the doctor say, "What? Who told you to hang lactated ringers?" And she was like, well, we just hung it. Y'all catch it? She said, we just hung it because basically that's normally what you do to the... He cut her off. He said, who told you to hang lactated ringers? He said, I didn't order lactated ringers. Oh, well, normally that's what you do. So I'm sitting here watching this shit. I don't know what you think or thought was going to happen, boo-boo pie. That was never happening. So if you thought, but do you see how quick it, in the beginning it becomes, she's the nurse, she's teaching me, she knows everything, you're a little cocky, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the minute you fall, it's we. Nah, it was never we. It was never we, boo-boo pie. Legally, on paper, you accepted those patients. You are the licensed registered nurse. Sweetie, I haven't even, oh my God, boo-boo pie. I have not even been let go off the preceptorship yet. I have not taken on a patient load. No patients are legally mine, and I didn't hang anything. So you was never going to be able to prove. I don't know why she did that. He chewed her up and spit her out. He said, I did not tell you to hang lactated ringers, and I'll make a decision when I come to the floor whether I'm going to sign for it or not. And I just watched, how things unfold. I was like, yo, people are savage in this business. But one thing my parents taught me growing up, and my father taught me this. He said, Audra, he said, know the law. He said, they taught you, you know what I'm saying, about law and government and economics in school. He said, always know the law and read your policies and procedures. You understand me? You was never blaming me for lactated ringers. That's it, y'all. Have a good day. Enjoy the weekend. Stay cool.